Hey Queens, welcome back to Yes Girl University, YGU, where we say yes to ourselves, yes to love, peace, happiness, joy, and living our dreams and our best life. Before we get started, I want to invite you to subscribe, like, share, and join the conversation by leaving us some comments so we can get this thing and make it interactive. So last week we shared our first video entitled Daughter, Giving Your Inner Child a Voice. So this week we have a guest. Somebody I just love so much. She's really like my little sister, because she kind of picks with me all the time.
Hey, I just vibe.
But she come with the truth, and that's why I love her so much. She's just so real. She has an amazing story, like most of us do, but I invited her because her story to me has always been very powerful, very empowering, and just very helpful with just us having our relationship and being able to talk to her and be very open and honest with her and sharing both our stories together. My friend Syreeta, welcome to Yes Girl University. Now see, I'm gonna back up, and so when I started this thing, I told her when this thing is big, I want her on my board. She's going to be part of my board, and we are going to rock this thing. It's so much bigger than I can tell y'all the way the Lord has given it to me, and I know He's told me that she has to be a part of it. So she's not officially my first guest. If you've been following, my granddaughter kind of came on one day and impromptu, she stole the show a little bit. So
that's a hard act to follow.
I know, because she was so passionate. She had so much to say, and we got to get that number 2 video in so she can finish.
No, wait till she get her words together for real.
No, she can't come on when she get her words.
No, because she telling it
all. She can't come on when she get her words.
But she gonna tell the truth.
She gonna tell too much.
And my camera said,
No.
Camera, mommy, she broke your glass.
No, she not coming on here telling nothing. We gonna get it while it's inaudible and cute. Okay, that's what we gonna do. So we're gonna jump right in. We've been kind of talking about this. Well, we talk about stuff like this all the time. But preparing for this video, we just been kind of leading up to it, and we've had some moments this week for sure. I don't know. I was debating. I don't know if I should get like a little box of tissue because
I'm not crying today.
Okay,
no,
all right, but it's okay.
I say no tears. But it's
okay. You don't know, right? You don't know how it's gonna manifest.
Right.
So we're gonna jump right in. Giving our inner child a voice. But we're gonna start on, what do you recall as your earliest childhood memory? Your earliest childhood memory.
See, now that depends on if you're talking about trauma.
No.
Or something that just something you remember. Because if you saying something that made you smile or something that you remember, I would take you to when I was 4 years old. And that's a whole spiritual aspect of things that was happening. If I told that, some people would be like, But
what sticks out to you? It does, whether it's trauma, whether it's something that make you smile, just the earliest thing you can remember that for some reason it sticks with you. You maybe can't explain it, but it just sticks with you.
Me.
Yeah.
When I was 7, my mother came back to get me.
Okay.
Because I never understood why. And the why being because she gave me to my grandmother. But then when I was 7, now you need me. Not because you miss me or you felt like you made a mistake. But it was because you needed me. Fast forward to when I was grown, I can actually tell you the year and the month. And the day. That's crazy. May 16, 2015, I finally was like, so why did you give me to my grandma? And she gave me an answer, but I knew it wasn't the truth. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to let it go because I will never know the answer to that. So that's just one of them things that just forever is stuck.
Okay. So we don't want to jump too far ahead. Let's just, since you already mentioned your mom, what was your family dynamic? Like, who raised you? What was the relationship in the home?
Right there. So I'm not sure the exact age she gave me to my grandmother, but up until I was 7, it was my grandmother, right? Okay. And then basically me. And then it was my cousin Rosie, my Aunt Denise, my Granny Bay, my granny, and my sister's mama, Mama Donna. that was making up what one woman is supposed to be. So it was never really a 2-parent home or a stepdad or nothing like that. It was her doing her thing. It was whosoever, whatever the case may be, and me with my younger siblings and these 5 people that was like interchanging. It was like slack today, slack tomorrow, slack today, slack.
So you're the oldest of your siblings. Okay. So yeah. So what was home life like?
On a regular basis living with her? Hungry. School. Cleaning up behind her and her friends. Though, now I gotta tell this story. You know how I do.
Go ahead.
So, it's no secret that I was abused, right? And so, when I got older, I understood that everything was for my making, right? And so, my granny Bay always made sure I was at Pilgrim Baptist Church. I don't know if I can say that over here, but I was always at Pilgrim Baptist Church. And so I always had this foundation. And so one night, without telling that whole story, I was looking up at the sky in between the top, like how that is. And I could see the sky. And it was stars, which you rarely see in the hood because too much light pollution. And I was like, God, if you, and I'm just like I'm pointing now to sound pointing, if you loved us so much that you gave our only begotten son, why is you allowing this to happen? Right? The next day we got a dog. I didn't realize it then, but fast forward a good 23 plus years, that prayer that I prayed right then and there in less than 12 hours, he answered with that dog because none of her friends could come over. None of our friends, so-called friends, couldn't come over because we was kids. You know how kids say people, they friends. They couldn't come over. The mailman couldn't come over. Her friends couldn't come over. Her men.
Because
nobody.
The dog was protective.
The dog would not allow anybody to come over. The mailman couldn't even deliver the mail.
Wow.
And every dope dealer wanted to buy him. He was a tiger stripe pit and his name was Stedman. It's the craziest thing ever. I didn't realize it then, but he answered that prayer right then and there. And it's just like, the moment I realized it, I just went to crying because here I was thinking all this time you allowed all this stuff to take place and you're not doing nothing about it. But all they ever taught me was he is love. He's always there. He's intentional and just a whole nother dynamic. But when you in the midst of a storm, even as a 7-year-old kid,
you don't see it.
It's a whole nother realm because you take everything face value. All you have to do is pray. Say your prayers at night. All you have to do is just like, you see all the marks and scars on me, but you talking about what? No.
It's like I'm not comprehending.
I'm doing everything you said.
But this is still happening. I'm still in the midst of this situation and I'm hurting. And God, where are you? And it's something to be even that young to be like, God, where are you? But when we're young and we come from our backgrounds, that's just ingrained to us. Just call on God, call on God. And he'll answer, and he does. But it's sometimes it's like you don't realize that it's instant
but
sometimes.
You got,
until later on it hits you like, wow.
You got that kid faith. And that's the thing. You got that kid faith, but you have that kid innocence. You're not really tainted yet, right? So everything is at face value. If you say you're going to give me some candy, you're going to give me some candy. I'm waiting
for you to give me some candy.
Ain't no ifs, ands about it. You just going to give me some candy. I ain't got to do nothing for it. You just going to give it because that's a kid. So that's it for me.
So what is something that significantly impacted your childhood and growing up?
Everything.
Like give me like one thing that even now it translates into your adulthood that
everything impacted me, but I think the part that stood out the most is not having an understanding. It was always, she crazy. Her mama is a drug addict. And this is the thing, and I've said this to you. I've been seeing and prophesying since I was like 4 years old. Why is it that I can tell y'all stuff and it come to pass, but it's me y'all want to lock up? I never had an understanding of that. Why I could see and know stuff and give it freely, and y'all want to lock me up. I never had an understanding of that. Or why wasn't I worthy enough? You kept my sister and my brother, but not me. But that's when I talk about when I say, and they say it's a price to be paid for your calling, baby. When you see all
too
of
much
these
is given,
ministers,
much is required.
To whom much is given, much is required. My favorite scripture. That is not a tale to be told. Like, it's really,
that's real.
It ain't got nothing to do with
real.
cash. Nothing to do with cash. And if people look at people who came from money, the one thing they'll tell you is cash can never buy the one thing that they have been looking for the whole entire time. And that was just true love. They couldn't buy it. Because if I wasn't going to give you no money, I ain't got to show you no love. So it just, it's not just people that's in the hood and different stuff. But as I got older and I got back into the church and got grounded, because like 15, I was like, okay, I'm tired of this Baptist church. It's got to be more than this. Let me be clear. Ain't nothing wrong with the Baptist church, but they're a great foundation. But at the time, they had a lot of tradition. Got to put a slip on, got to put some stockings on, all the way down to the ankles. And they're not even a culture church, but that was the rule. You too young, you can't wear no red polish. Now, here's the thing. I never understood how red polish make you fast.
Right.
I'm full grown right now.
Right.
I don't know how red polish will make you fast, but you know that was a no-go.
We couldn't wear red, no, red nothing.
No. I mean, I get lady in red and all of that,
right.
But yeah, with red polish, it's just, what? Is this, why this can't be the blood of Jesus? Why it's gotta be, why we gotta be fast? But by the time I was 15, I was like, it's got to be more than this. It's got to be a whole nother level. And stuff was still happening then, and I was battling with so many things, and it was just like, okay, I'm just gonna start visiting churches on my own. And so I got with Shanetta and Mary, and they was at Real Life at the time. And Pastor Margaret got up there, and when I tell you she left everything up there, and they carried her off, I was like, oh, that's it. That's where I'm supposed to be. And I went through all the classes and different stuff. And then it was like, okay, time to go. And then I was somewhere else. Then I went to a whole nother level. And then it's like, ever since then, God is like, I'm going to teach you what you need to know. I'm going to connect you with where you need to be and who you need. I'm like, okay. But even with that, the exchange, when a situation happens, the night before you pray about it, and God tell you, don't say nothing. It's a reason why you ain't never met this person. And then the situation happened like less than 12 hours, and you like, I'm going to be clear. I don't care if it's going to be posted. I'm just going to be transparent to the mug. In 60 seconds, I had already decided what I was going to do, including my defense. Yeah, it was going to be bad. It was going to be really, really bad. But I remembered his word from the night before, which was, I don't want you to meet this person because you would tear this person up. And this is how you would be seen. I don't want you to be seen. But in the heat of the moment, that's how intentional God is about me. I was on my way. I'm like, yeah, Karen here, she gonna buy me out. I ain't got to worry. I know I'm gonna have to go to trial. Yeah, I might have to sit down for it. Like, I had this whole 60 seconds. I'm finna turn into Devetta Ann. That's my mother. It's going down. I ain't finna leave no stone unturned. They keep talking about I'm Willie's granddaughter. I'm finna flam. I'm finna act a complete idiot up in here. When they see this person, they're gonna be like, where did she come from? I was ready. And he just brought it right back to me. Remember, I told you I don't want people to see this side of you. I want them to see me in you. You said you was willing to be used. Only for me to find out later that night, it was for my own daughter. Because that night she had said to me, Mom, you always tell us to be nice to nice to people, and to always show love and to be God. And I was like, son of a gun.
What you asked for,
man? Because he'll give it to you now. It might slap you in the face,
and then most of the time hit you right in your face. He'd be like,
I was on my way. I was ready. I was like, Zion is 11. She'll remember me. Plus, we're gonna be writing. We're gonna get our pen pal on. I'm gonna be on her about her homework. Like I'm telling you, 60 seconds. It was just like floof. This is what we finna do. And I was finna show mess up. I was show finna man. And I got lied on in the process. And I hadn't done it. What? It wasn't the first time I had been lied on. But the fact that God had given me specific instructions and I followed them. I didn't do it. And I still get lied on.
Yeah. That's why I'm a big fan of, when you get to a place where you're, I don't know, I want to say, have enough courage to share your own story. Do that so you control your narrative. Because, people talk and they say what they want to say and they make up what they want about you. But when it comes from you, what they say straight from the horse's mouth, then there's no question. There's no speculating. There's no guessing. There's no, you can't lie on me because I said it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm a big fan. Like, I'm glad I got to this place where, no, I'm going to tell my own story.
And you know what? It ain't so much even that as... Do you remember when I came, when you were staying on Cross Street from Deal? And God had just gave me, and I came, I hadn't got dressed, and then I was like, no, I gotta come tell you this.
I remember that.
I had a conversation with somebody, and I'm like, I feel like I'm talking about her. I'm gonna pray on this thing. And then he just kept making it stronger and stronger. I said, I can't let this go. I'm just going over there. I got to tell her, listen, this what it is. And even though you wasn't in a place to hear it, you was like, it sound about right. And then that seems to be like our dynamic. You be like, I ain't gonna have no daycare. Miss Annie, why you got a daycare? What? Miss Annie, you have a women's ministry. What are you talking about? Miss Annie, why you got these racks of clothes and over here having a ministry with these...
Because I like to dress up.
But it's not just you though. It would be one thing. I got a whole friend. I ain't gonna put her name out there. I said, listen, such and such and such and such. She's like, no, because I got plans. I'm moving to Georgia. This, that, and the third block. She telling me all this stuff. I was like, no, you gotta. She's like, I ain't doing that. Yeah, I had bought all the equipment, and I was thinking we could have the kids fill out applications so they learn how to fill out applications, which everything she had was a great idea, right? But I had already told her this. And she told me, no, just like you. And I'd be like, and then y'all, I feel like I'd be the first person y'all call. Y'all be like, I can't wait to tell her. And I'm like,
no, I'd be like, no, I'm not calling her. I'm not doing it. And then I'd be like, okay, Syreeta, so.
But I had told you. I'd be like,
I know. Okay, all right. I listen. Might take me a little time, but I listen.
And then I said,
the Lord got to work on me too.
No, you do it when I told you. You just be like, I don't want to do it right now. I'm be rebellious. I don't want to do this right now. That's too much. That's how you said.
And that time I was intentionally being rebellious because I was dealing with a lot. And it's just that, like you said, it's that when you don't understand, like, why is all of this happening? I'm in the midst of all of these storms around me, and it's supposed to be quiet in the middle of the storm, but it's not. It's very loud in the storm, and I'm crying out, and why am I here? Why am I here? We talk about it.
You said, you asked God when you was younger, you want to be like Big Mom. Mm-hmm. And every time you do that, I say, but this is what
I asked for.
You didn't realize.
This is what I asked for.
What was going on. Be careful what you asked for.
That's
you
right.
didn't realize all the stuff she was doing. But
so,
you asked for
So bringing up Big Mom was the person that I looked up the most as a child. The person that I felt safest with. I felt most loved, and I feel like taught me everything just to be the woman that I am today. I modeled myself after Who did you
now see you gonna make
look
me cry
after
at this moment because I feel
Okay.
the tears on this one.
That's okay.
Because, and she probably don't know this, right? Dang it.
Go ahead.
I really got a tear too. This is crazy.
I cried when I talked about my big mama. Go ahead.
But the person who loved me the most and I felt safest with is actually two people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Three. It's three. But all kind of for different reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm gonna be wholeheartedly honest, it's the 5 women it took up to be one woman, right? So my cousin Rosie, to look up to her was the steady job. She wasn't no change job. She literally, like, she working a job, she gonna work until the place, you know what I'm saying, burn
so
down.
consistency, hard
she was
work.
very consistent with that. My granny Bay, because she just loved so purely. But at the same time, I don't think there's ever been anything that she's ever said and or taught me that I ever forgot. Right? My other grandmother, because she was my granny Hyde, resilient. She raised 3 boys and a girl. When I say I see her throw her hips and throw my uncle into the wall like he was a rag doll, when I say she barred none, she don't care what you talking about. If that woman got something to say, she gonna say it.
So strength.
My sister's mom, Mama Donna, because even though I wasn't biologically hers, never once did she make a difference. And I mean that wholeheartedly. When I say full acceptance, ain't no shortage on the food.
Just come on in.
It's hair day. We all getting our hair washed. It's going to be 2 French braids. And even though her and my dad was together, and that's the only woman that my dad ever asked to marry him, it never really had nothing to do with him about how she felt about me. You get me? It was 2 separate things. Yeah. But the one that's got me really crying is my Aunt Denise. Me and her used to talk. When I say every day, I'm talking about we used to watch shows. We couldn't talk during the show, but on commercials. Did you see? Okay, we back on. Click. When I say whether I was right or wrong, she was rocking and rolling, and she was gonna tell me about it. Sometimes not till after the fact, but she was more about being heard, right? And this is, people probably ain't gonna believe this, but I'm gonna put this out there because I want everybody to know quick, because I've often been accused of being jealous. There's only one thing ever in my whole entire life, and I'm 41, that I've ever had a jealousy bone about, and that was the fact that my Aunt Denise was a mother to my cousin Zanae. It was the relationship, and I didn't hate it. I just always wondered
what it would be like. Yeah. And we talk about that a lot too, because that's something that I lacked coming up with my mother, because, you know, she was young and she wanted to do what she wanted to do, and friends were always over, and it just seemed like everybody was more important than what was going on at home. And so lacking that mother-daughter relationship, and even with my dad, that father-daughter relationship, it always seems like something you long for. And then how do you get to an adult age and still long for that? And then how do you get it? So my next question would be the healing process. Like,
so let me be frank. You never stop healing, right? And something I couldn't understand is I know other people who are crackheads and they got themselves together, right? But I could never understand why one could, but one couldn't. Right? So I had went through so much of this with the vetted end, so much of this. so much of this, so much of this. And I would always give her another chance, and it would always be, it just never would pan out, right? So I finally got to a point where I'm like, you know what? If I see you, hey, how you doing? It is what it is. I took everything for face value with her, right? So, boy, I'm transparent in a mug. So behind my brother going to jail and the whole thing with my sister-in-law, she wanted me to have sympathy for her. And I didn't have it, and she wanted to fight me. Now, that's the second time. The first time she wanted to fight me was when I was pregnant with Denasia. And she flipped me, and the Holy Spirit said, don't fight back, she'll kill the baby. Mind you, I was like 6-7 months. And because I wouldn't give her sympathy, she wanted to fight me. So I had said, you know what, God, whenever she get done doing what she doing, as the one pastor would say, tell her she been in the stream too long. It's time to come in, right? That's the old people saying, so everybody might not get it. But I had told God, and a lot of people didn't know this. I said, God, whenever she get herself together, then that's when I'll start worrying about a relationship. It doesn't mean that I didn't love her, because I did. In fact, I will tell you this. You couldn't have paid me to believe I would have been as hurt as I was when she killed herself. I've always knew she was going to OD. Just in my mind since I was 8. She's going to OD. That was always my thought, right? She didn't OD on crack cocaine. That was not the case. You see what I'm saying? But I always knew since I was like 8, this is what it's going to be, right? I didn't know when. I just know this is what it's going to be, right? You could not have paid me to believe I'd have lost the farm, the bank, Pluto, that I was going to feel the way I felt when she died.
But why was it that you felt that way?
Because see what you learn to do, the body by itself, the mind by itself, to protect itself, it'll hide and put stuff away. I'm not going to feel that. So you tuck it away and you hide it. I mean, not in the physical, I'm talking about in the mental. You tuck it away and you hide it. You tuck it away and you hide it. So I had already made up in my mind, when she get herself together, then we're going to have a relationship. Right? Well, she took that too. So that never happened. But at the time, it wasn't a like, oh, you'll never have it. Da 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 da. I'm angry. It was like, why am I so hurt? Because I was like a newborn kid. And my other aunt in Georgia, she was like, can't nobody tell you how to feel.
Right.
Because that is your mother, even regardless of y'all's relationship, right? I never heard about me and her relationship with nobody, right? So even some people had went and told my friend Trudy some stuff. And she was like, I know both of them personally. Syreeta's never hidden the relationship between her and her mother. It just never dawned on me that I was still holding on to all that love for her. And that's really why I was so hurt. I just really didn't know that I had really packed. It had became not a numbness type thing, but it had became a habit, a pattern. Yep, she tripping out
because just to protect yourself.
Yeah, she tripping out. This ain't nothing new. She always doing something. It became a pattern. But then, like, I ain't gonna say a year ago. I was talking to Pat, and I said, I don't understand why it bothers me, such and such, blase. And she said, oh, I can tell you why. And it made so much sense. The stuff that she was saying, even though she knew my mother, me personally, she got 7 kids with my stepdad. Well, Pawpaw, because he ain't out. You know what I'm saying? So she got 7 kids with him, and he ended up married to my mother, whatever. You know what I'm saying? No bad blood, none of that mess. But she came at me, and what she said was so true. It rung. Tears was just flowing up out of me. And I don't know if you ever heard of this. It's called a burn book. So I had never heard of these, right? And she was like, you carry stuff that don't belong to you. Now, I know I used to do that with friends, but I never realized I was still carrying that 7-year-old girl.
Yeah.
That had to be okay. She had to make sure her siblings was okay. That tried to take the blunt of the beating so that she would be kind of tired when it came to them. Like, I never realized that I was carrying all of that. And then I carried her emotions.
Right.
And that is so heavy. When you hear that song, bag lady.
Mm-hmm.
No. For real, you got all of that.
Yeah.
It's emotional. You can't physically see it, but it shows up in your physical. It shows up in your relationships. It shows up on your job.
Mm-hmm.
It shows up in the way you think. And you would never know that this is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's really why a lot of us got some issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I say a lot of us because I'm including myself.
Mm-hmm.
We always put a Band-Aid over the bullet wound. And we never dig the root out.
Yeah.
Because it's taboo.
Yeah.
For therapy.
Yeah.
And you know, for years I've been saying, if you put 50 women in the same room,
Mm-hmm.
12 of them could have black eyes and being abused, but ain't nobody gonna talk about it.
And we was raised to hush.
Yeah, what goes on in this house,
Yeah, hush.
stays in this house.
Yeah, hush.
And that's, when I tell you right now, that's still a thing. Somebody was having a conversation with me yesterday, and the daughter was saying what was going on. And the mama's response was, I'm supposed to be manless because that's happening. And it was, I think that boy like 9, maybe 10. He couldn't understand it, but he was so pure and innocent about it. Because number one, he was in on an adult conversation. You know that don't
do that.
Don't do that. But he was in an adult conversation. But he had a better understanding than this adult did. And the reason he was able to have that understanding is because he didn't have no trauma.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't carrying all these bags. He wasn't trying to heal, or when I say heal, you know, women and men, I don't care what they say. If you just get to know a man and learn his story for real, they got that loneliness about them. They keep going from woman to woman to woman. They be like, oh, because he's just a hoe. Mm-hmm. Now, some of that is he can't be alone.
Mm-hmm.
He can't process them thoughts that he's having. And I ain't talking about no lesbian or gayness.
Right.
When I say them thoughts alone, I mean idle hands is the devil's playground. Mm-hmm. He don't understand why he wasn't good enough for his mama to be there versus doing drugs, or why daddy wasn't. That's real trauma. Yeah. That's real hurt. Y'all talking about bullets and fighting, but I'm talking about stuff that's doing damage to your soul.
Yes.
So if I put 50 women in the same room and 12 of them is being abused and black eyes and different stuff. First of all, it's 9 o'clock at night and we indoors. Why you got on sunglasses? Mm-hmm. Your makeup is pretty, but I can see how it's caked up over here because you're trying to hide that black eye. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I see where you tried to do the, what is it called?
Contouring.
The contouring for that lip.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. The light hit you just right. I seen it. But this is the thing. It's 50 of y'all in here. 12 of y'all is being abused and nobody is saying anything because you don't want them to know. Mm-hmm. But everybody know.
Mm-hmm. But that goes back to, that's been our culture. Hush. Everybody knows, but don't say anything. And so we become robbed of our voices, and it takes us to experience adult trauma to sometimes finally realize, make that connection to, why do I react this way to certain things? When you go back to things to your childhood, and sometimes it'll be click. I'll just be thinking, I'll be talking, and then I'll start to feel a real strong emotion, and then I'll go back to something that happened to my child. I'll be like, oh my God, that's why. That is the root of why I feel this way today in this situation, with this relationship with my husband or my child or my mom or my dad or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, we have so much healing and forgiving, not just of other people, but ourselves too, for carrying it.
And that's the hard part. I think the hardest part is to forgive yourself for carrying it. Because number one, you didn't realize that you had it. Right? And then when you do, well, let me speak for me. I don't know about everybody else. I'm going to be transparent. Me. Then my next problem was, okay, I can admit that I'm carrying it. I ain't got no problem with that. It don't take much for me to be like, yep, I did that. Mm. So, yeah, I was carrying that. Yep, I acted out for that. I did this, and this. That make a whole lot of sense. Yep, that's exactly why that happened. But the part that got heavy was, why did I hold on to it for so long? And now I got to tell me, hey, look, My bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Do you forgive me? Me,
Yeah.
I forgive you. And then it's like, well, dang, I just forgave myself. But did I really? Because it's not just saying it. Because it's little stuff that as you keep going on in life, that's going to be, a trigger or something to be like, dang, I carried that too.
Yeah.
Well, come on now.
Yeah.
Like, why did I? But it becomes a mechanism.
But then you realize that becomes the beginning of your healing process, because now you can admit it, you can forgive,
is half the
and
battle.
then recognize and like, I got to do that too. I got to clean that up too.
Yep.
I got to do it.
And then it becomes,
to move forward.
You gonna walk through this or not? Because you sure know how to sweep it under the rug and keep it moving. And
the blessing, that is the blessing though, is to start to heal and want to heal.
You can't just start though.
You got to be intentional about it.
Continue on with it so that you can get past that part. Because by doing that, on top of going into the courts of heaven and realizing some of the things that happen to you, they say hurt people. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about hurt people, we think, that's just the things that they've been in. We never think from a spiritual standpoint when your grandmama, your grandpa signed a contract or a covenant for these things to enter into your bloodline, period, right? Mm-hmm. And so then it becomes blood is thicker than mud and all of this. Well, whose blood is you under? Mm. And I say that because you could find family that's not in DNA or be closer to friends than you are with your own family members. Simply because they think they know your business. But if you put 5 kids in a room and an incident happens, each one of them kids gonna have some same markers,
a different perspective,
but a different perspective.
Yep.
So you still on the outside looking in, and your thoughts and what you think. Guess what? Your thoughts and what you think don't matter. Mm. That sound real jacked up, right? But it don't matter because you're not me. Mm. It don't matter because you don't know how I feel, and you say stuff as a dig. But you don't understand where it's coming from or how hurt a person actually is, right? I'm guilty of that. I did that to people too. So let me own that. But I'm just saying, you really don't. You just don't. You don't know, right? Mm-hmm. You don't know. I had a conversation with my brother and it was so deep. He wasn't lying about the stuff he was saying, but I had to turn my head sideways and I was just like, I just want to squeeze and hug you like you too. Because you deserve that. Like hearing how he was feeling about his life and the things he had been through. And, it's a lot. It's a lot. Then I find, and this is because of me and my mother's relationship, I don't jail with females. Mm. It's easier for me to be cool with a dude than it is with a female. And usually it's because they be like, I don't like you. But they can't tell you for real.
Can't tell you why.
Why they don't like
you.
Or they'll be like, you trying to sleep with my man. And I'll be wanting to say so bad, I'm not even interested. Your so-called girl that you talking about?
Yeah.
That's who he was with last night. But it ain't my business. So I'm just going... But it's me that you don't like because you think I want your man. For what? He's sleeping with your best friend. Mm-hmm. But you say stuff like that, you kind of get in trouble with God because sometimes God will show you some stuff, and it's for you to pray on, not for you to tell.
To put it out there.
But I really be wanting to sometimes. I ain't gonna lie, I'm human.
Go in the closet.
I be wanting to, and I be like, okay.
Yes, Lord. Okay, Jesus.
And I'm always accused of being antisocial and stuck up.
But people don't understand sometimes when, the gifts that we carry, sometimes we are, I don't know, it's just secluded.
You're peculiar and meant to be set apart.
Yeah.
Specifically, because if they was attached to you, they would tear you up. Mm. They would literally hang you out to dry in the spiritual realm. And some people don't realize that spiritual realm is worse than that physical realm. Mm-hmm. It's a whole nother ball game. So when we had these traumas and we go in and we dig into the root, one thing that's not being taught, and it just amazes me that it's not being taught, especially in the black churches. Not saying all black churches, so don't y'all jump on here talking about They'll talk about going into the courts of heaven, but they don't teach
how to
on going into the courts of heaven. They don't teach about clearing your house out. How some things you holding on to, because my mama had that, but that was witchcraft. Or they'll say witchcraft is not real, but it's a practiced religion. What do you mean? That type of, see, that's not, that's the taboo part. That's the, that's not true. Oh, that's not being spoke on. Well, doggone it, what is being spoke on? Because right now, is this, you can't throw a rock for hearing somebody say so-and-so got killed, so-and-so got stabbed, somebody just did a drive-by. Oh, this was on revenge. Or this, y'all don't fight no more. I'm convinced just y'all don't know how to fight. I don't care what you say. Y'all just do not know how to fight. Y'all don't know how to fight. You couldn't. Because death is a final situation. And it's really two deaths that's happening at the same time. Because if you ain't caught up, you finna be tormented. And either you gonna snitch or somebody else gonna snitch. Because everybody, I could do jail. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And then when you get to prison, it's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But because they got drugs and shoes and clothes and phones and snacks in there, just like they in the real world, you forgot about the stuff that was still happening in there. The rapes, the beatings, the being abused. That is still happening.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
That just, the state of the world will let you know that, it's a lot of broken people. And they don't know how to make those connections, or where do they even go to even try to heal if we're not getting what we need at the same time,
I almost think that's what it is, but I really think the problem is, and this is what an addict is, from my understanding. It's easier to go left than to actually go right, because you have to do one thing: turn the mirror on self. I said, I did, I went, and I. And then this is the kicker. Oh, I posted this on Facebook on Father's Day, I believe it was. You cannot continuously blame your mother and father for that bike you didn't get, for that time you didn't get, and be wearing that in your relationships and in your life. When your mama's 70 or your daddy 80 or they dead and gone already, and you still holding on to something, and they literally bye. And then you say, "Oh, it's the devil." No, baby, it's you.
Yeah, it's at some point you have to have accountability.
Yeah.
And I mean, people say at 18, we always say, well, you 18 now, whatever you do is on you. It's true. But I even think before that, for myself, we have to be clear for myself. Before that, I was making decisions that had nothing to do with, anybody else but what I wanted to do based on what I was feeling. And hey, at this point in life, I can own up to it. Yep, I did that. Like you say, yep, I said that. Yep, I didn't do that. So just, again, turning that mirror on self and saying, yep, I did, but let it go. Like, that's not you anymore. It's your path. You're walking now. Nobody's carrying you. You're walking this life. You're living this life. And from here on out, at some point, you just got it. That's what it is. So it's you, baby. It's you.
You just be like, oh.
Everything. It's about choice. What you choose.
Every issue that you got, moving to another state won't solve the problem.
No, it's going to go with you.
Because you're going to take you with you.
It's going to go with you.
Until you decide to deal with you.
Yep. You're going to take it all with you.
Hey. Or you. The man said this today. Michael Todd. I was watching him on YouTube. He said, yeah, you got them habits. It's a pattern. You've been married and divorced 4 times. You're the only common denominator, but it was every woman that you was with.
It's time to look at self. It's time to look at self.
Or I've heard men say, oh, I deserve this. What do you deserve? Because you still here and you still ain't did what you were supposed to do. So you still have life. But you deserve what? No. If you got what you deserved, you wouldn't be here.
Right.
If you got what you deserve, you would be peeking through somebody's bars. if you got what you deserve. Just because everybody don't know what you did,
don't mean that it wasn't done. Don't mean that she didn't do it. Yeah.
So it is what it is.
It's something being an adult, huh?
Yeah.
Adulting
is not fun. But you be, oh, let me get there. Let me.
You can't wait. You can't wait.
And then you get out there and be like, hold on.
Whoa.
The soap just don't appear?
Did we just go through a wormhole because I turned on the light switch, but y'all said I got to pay for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You've been flipping the light switch all the time. Somebody else was paying for it. Now it's you.
But for us, like, I can, say we lived at a time where we still struggle. Like, our kids, they didn't flip on a light, food in the house, whatever. So we knew what it was like to survive the struggle, So I think that gave us a little bit more, I don't know if I want to say character or strength or focus or whatever to really be independent people.
I think it made us stronger because we went through so many trials and tribulations in the natural, right? Mm-hmm. But this generation has a different set of trials and tribulations, right? And stuff that you would think is so clear cut and dry.
Mm-hmm. It's not to them.
It's not.
It's not to them.
It's not.
And see, we about to get into a whole. We about to get into a whole other conversation. Okay, we gotta save that. We gotta save that because we can go on and on about that one. But anyway, we're gonna move on. If you could look at your younger self right in the eyes, like if you just what would you say to your younger self based on who you are now? What would you say to her?
Stop hiding. You know this. I'm not a hugger. It took a lot for me to get.
And I'm going to give you one when we get done.
No, I see what I'm saying.
I am. Just accept it. It's okay.
I'm not a hugger. Mm-hmm. And really, I chose not to be a hugger because it invoked emotion, right? And so when it would evoke the emotion, I didn't know how to handle it. So I probably would tell her to stop hiding. Just deal with your emotions. If you happy, doggone it, be happy. If you sad, doggone it, just live that. It's a moment. Live it. That's probably what I would tell her. And you're more resilient and stronger on the inside. You don't have to show it on the outside.
Would you also say, because this is something I didn't say in my video, but would you say, is it okay to be vulnerable when you need to, like to ask for help?
I wouldn't have to tell her that. How old are you when you're in third grade? 9, 10?
About 8.
8, 9. So in the third grade, what's it called? Youth? The YSP, I think it's called.
YSB. Youth Service, whatever, yeah.
They came out and that's when they had the house and it was supposed to be a safe place. It was called Safe Place.
Yeah.
And they had given us the keychain. Teacher's name was Miss Swanson. I told you this stuff be like clockwork for me. I snuck and stayed in from recess. I'm like, yes, I'm finna get us the help that we need. I mean, family ain't doing nothing. They know what's going on. They talking about this is a safe place. How is people there to help you? All this different stuff. And I just, again, innocent, believed it. Mm-hmm. I filled up 3 chalkboards. Yeah, I know some of y'all don't know what a chalkboard is. White chalk.
It's a
it's communication. Yes. It's how they used to teach. Clean the erasers. Y'all don't know nothing about that.
Face the blackboard.
Yeah, we get in trouble. Put I will not talk during class.
Go put your name over there in the corner.
Yeah, on the board. Not on paper, on the board. But I snuck and stayed in from recess and I filled up 3 boards on what was happening to us. I'm talking about from being left alone to the not having food to the being the one taking care of them, to the molestation, to just everything. 3 chalkboards full. Miss Swanson came in there. Was like, what in the world? And starts reading. And she made fun of me. Here I was thinking, I'm getting us some help. We're finna get out this situation. We can go live with a family member. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. And she was cracking jokes. Well, that little girl, slapped the wig off Miss Swanson's hair. And all the kids laughed. She was just so stunned she couldn't pick up the wig for a minute. And Mrs. Butterfinger, who I was I swear she was a witch. Just because of every picture you had seen of a witch as a kid with the pointed nose and the hair. She just, as they drew what a witch looked like in cartoons, Miss Butterfinger looked like that. And I was just convinced that she was a witch, right? So Miss Butterfinger comes over because it was just so much commotion. The fact that I slapped her was like, oh! And then the wig came off. So you know how kids act and carry on and the laughing, all that good stuff. And she was like, what's going on? What is all the commotion about? And so she reached and put her wig back on. And she was like, and Miss Butterfinger started reading. And she didn't just like read it. She just like skimmed like specific words and whips. And, she was just scanning the boards. And she was like, how dare you? This baby was reaching out for help and you just made fun of her. And I was like, yeah, somebody that got it. But it wasn't, she said it, but there was no emotion in her face. There was no compassion.
No, was there any action following it?
No, I ran to the bathroom and hid in there and cried. And see, back then they used to paddle us, so I knew that was coming. Mm-hmm. They didn't paddle me, but they did call her to come get me. And I had violated the number 1 rule.
You told what was going on in the house.
What was going on in the house. So I knew what was coming. The thing about that, though, and I still don't know, or maybe I blocked it out. I know she beat me. I ain't misunderstand that part. What I don't understand is why nothing was ever done about it. That part I never got. So that just, you just be surprised.
Yeah. Well, one last thing. Mm-hmm. Based on all you've covered, and based on what you would say to that younger girl, do you think, based on who you are and how far you've come, that she would be proud of you today?
Definitely. I think she was proud of me when we were back that age. The problem was she didn't deal with emotions. And then that's another reason that it made it easier to be comfortable with a male. Because part of me, dang it, Syreeta. You just gonna tell it, you gonna tell it. Recently, I realized why I was dealing with the men the way I was dealing with them. And I was basically trying to, goes back to my mother, figure out what was the love and comfort that she could give to these men but not her own child. To the point that I was like, okay, but do you got this over here? No, that ain't. That
so you was trying to answer your question by
messing with all
by experiment, trying to figure it out,
and it was never the answer. But the funny thing is, maybe 2 of them was only ever able to comfort me, ever. And that's crazy to me. Because you would think, I don't really, how do I say that?
So,
my vulnerability with men somehow made me trustworthy to them. And I don't get that. Like, we could leave her here with the money, the guns, anything. She ain't gonna touch it. She ain't that type of person. Or, yeah, when I was younger, my dad tried to rape me. Like they would tell me they innermost. And some people be like they was lying. But as time went on, you would find out nothing about that was a lie. They just never let you in about that. Or they would slip up and say something. Or Mama's always liked me for whatever reason. Mom would say something, I never could figure out why. And I was like, 5 plus 5 is 10 all day long. But I wasn't finna go tell their business that this person felt neglected. You was working all the time.
So you wouldn't say, like, I would say, like my interaction with men and stuff before I got married, I always say, I was looking for some type of love. You weren't looking for love. You were looking for an answer. Mm-hmm. Wow.
But it took me to get to 40 to figure that out.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Why I couldn't get that? If I had got that further back. But you know what? I don't regret nothing I ever did. And I done some stuff. I might not have told everybody, or everybody don't know everything, but I done did a lot of stuff. I done been involved in a lot of stuff. I done been present when stuff has been done. And to be 41, I've had more life experience than most. From the abuse, verbally abusing people myself, the sexual behavior, the being hurt, the allowing myself to be hurt when I shouldn't have been, not just from males but from females, and I don't mean in a relationship way. The going through everything behind closed doors in the closet, so to speak, so that people don't know what's really going on with me or how I feel, and coming out. And here's where I made a mistake. You see, I started pointing at the camera because I'm pointing at me. Here's where I made the mistake. Most people think I'm resilient, and I am. But because they think I'm resilient, they don't think I have feelings.
So you become an easy person, an easy target to just...
Yeah, because she don't got no feelings. Right. She don't care about nothing. She's self-absorbed. She's stuck up. She don't got no feelings.
And all the while, it's, that's not who you are, which I know that.
But it's not.
But people don't realize, okay, I've lived a lifetime of protecting myself with all of these different tools that I set up for me.
And that's the tools I've been getting back. Back. Here's the thing. I tell my kids how to do that. And that's a bad thing. I don't want them to get, my age before they realize what they actually doing. So sometimes when my kids is like Denasia can be very straight faced, and she can be hurt, but she'll be straight faced. That's my fault. I have to take responsibility of that because I did that. They mimicked me. Right? Adriana don't like hugs. Every now and again she'll hug people, and I realize, dang it. Once, because I'm a baby person. I love you when you babies. Right. I still love you, but I'm more about you when you a baby. Somewhere in that adolescent stage.
Stop touching me.
Yeah. Literally. And so even with Zion, I realized Zion has always hugged on me, right? She's always been spoiled with a lot of love, right? And so it was even an older lady. We was at Real Services one time, and she was like, "You're not beating on your child." And I'm like,
am I supposed to?
Because it sounds bad when she said that, right? She was really giving me a compliment. What she was saying was, you showing your child love. I never see anybody come in here and show their kid love.
But did you realize you were doing it?
No. I was doing what I've always done with all of my kids. When they babies, they hang all over me, pull my, I am their toy. Denasia's never been honest to God, Denasia's never been a toy person. She had dolls and toys, but she was more interested in science. I always knew she was going to go health field. Always. She was more, they're taking apart the heart. She's 2. They're taking apart her heart. Like, she's literally glued, it was not like, ew, gory, let me go play with some. She's never been that way. She's always been pretty much a nerd all her life. Anything that was educational, she gravitated to. So much so to when she was in Head Start, when they, get this, they used to do parent-teacher conference at your house. Dang, I feel old. They used to do parent-teacher conference at your house. And they was like, she doesn't know her ABCs, her 1, 2, 3s. She doesn't sing any songs. And I look, who? As much time as I spent, hold that thought. Denasia, come down here. Say your numbers. in Spanish. Alphabet in Spanish. Don't tell me and this girl get on my nerves with Hector the Hippo. But she was bored. They kept doing it repeatedly. And this is what I realized in life. Men need other men to do things women don't, right? But a man will keep doing the same repetitive thing to fit in. A woman will keep doing the same repetitive thing about a feeling. And that's something that was happened to us when we was younger, and it became a pattern in life. Hence, me with my emotions. Hence, people, as my aunt say,
that's so true.
What she say?
That just clicked for me with the emotions thing, because I always had to tell myself, you got to check your emotions, because when something happens, that emotion, whether it's anger,
you're not
sadness,
allowed to
whatever, you're not allowed to feel it, but you kind of like it goes, and I say, don't go down a rabbit hole of this emotion. Like, I have to stop myself, because if I go down that rabbit hole of anger, then this is what you're going to do. You already know what you're going to do, because you've been reacting this way to this emotion.
That's
and
what
that
makes
emotion.
My aunt say I'm passive aggressive. And I'm like, I'm really not passive aggressive. She said, you've always been that way. You're passive aggressive. And that actually pisses me off. She don't know that. But I think she do know that. But it actually pisses me off, because sometimes I get to the point where I just be like, you know what? I'm actually tired of having this argument with you. I really don't care. You are so loud and ignorant right now that I really don't care. Yeah, you can say you won. I don't even care no more. I'm ready to shut down with this situation, because you are not worth my time in this moment. Only because, here's the kicker, this takes me back to the abuse with my mother. Unless she watched this video.
You don't know that.
She don't know that.
Wow.
There's a lot of triggers for people. Triggers are for anybody. It's not just for those who have trauma. Sometimes we see things and don't even know it's a trauma until you full grown and it's a smell. Like, you think about the movie Life. He was like, even the smell. He ready to get shot for a pie. Yeah. And the bullets wasn't the problem. It was too hot, right? But it's the same thing when trauma, or you suppress something so deep. Number one, the brain will do it by itself because it's trained to, right? It's trained to protect self. You're born with that, right? At least most people. But in doing so, you never get to realize until you get that next trigger. Dang it.
And that's crazy when you don't recognize the trigger, but you know something is happening.
Yeah.
You know you're feeling something. You can't explain why.
And you just, most times, you be like, nah, I'm tripping.
Yeah, I'm tripping. Brush it off. Right. But really, then when it clicks, you like, oh my God.
When a kid sees too much, they grow up, and sometimes it's something that they hide, and they don't like to be yelled at, right? And sometimes it's because their mama yelled at them, and sometimes it's because they seen their mother being abused, and the yelling is a trigger, and it takes them back to that little girl. So I was talking about earlier that burn book when I was talking with Pat. She said, because you're carrying things that were never yours. You were never supposed to be a mother at 7. You got to give that back. That hurt that you felt, you got to give that back. It's not what God had meant for you. See, so everything that I went through, I'm 20 years old and I'm ministering to a 55, 65-year-old woman, and they trying to figure out how is it possible. And they got 40 plus years over me.
Because people don't realize age doesn't necessarily mean, they say time heals all wounds. That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily, if you're not being intentional about recognizing your wounds. If you never recognize them, how can you heal from them? So you got, like you say, a 20-year-old who has, start this healing process or been to whatever and recognize, I need to work on this. And then you can have, like me and my mom. My mom's 20 years older than me, and she still hasn't, she's never worked on her wounds, ever. So she remains a victim of that, even to this day.
Even though she has said some stuff to me, and I was like, oh, because Nana used to get me. She used to, you and Al thought it was funny. I didn't think it was funny.
Oh, God.
You know she'll sucker me in and I'm in there. Boy. But she would say some real
stuff.
No,
we would tell you, don't go in there. I try to warn you.
You hear her calling me, right? So you know I'm going. She an older lady and she calling me. You know I'm going. You know I'm going.
Hey, and go ahead.
But she had said some stuff, and I thought by her saying it, she had recognized it enough that at least that little part she would have worked on. She never did.
No, never did. Never did. And with the state she's in now, it's kind of like, at this point, she doesn't even remember.
But it's like, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
It's
because she's still going to have some triggers.
Yeah, she's going to have triggers, but I always question, is that a good thing for me or a bad thing for me? Because it's like, now that where I am, it's like, I want to address these things and what happened when I was a little girl and where were you and this, that, and other. But the state that she's in now, if I come at her like that,
she's really going to say, I don't know what
she
you're talking about.
She doesn't remember. She really does not remember. So it's like, for me to heal, I got to let it go. I have to find my peace with it.
No, not have your peace with it. You need a burn book. But I would challenge you to go further back with the actual root of the problem for her.
I know what the root of her problem for her is.
But then when you go to that, okay, this happened, so this is what happened to me. But what was the root of the problem up there? Mm-hmm. And then connect them dots, and then that sounds like a world of fun, because...
Yeah. But it's like, even still connecting the dots, I still have to
go into the courts of heaven, renounce the contract and the covenant that was made, and forgive all of those generations back.
Yeah,
moving forward. Because the crazy thing about it is, somewhere along the line of you raising your 5 kids, they are attached to that now.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's a big accountability, because you be like, boy, I know why. Girl, I don't even understand why you... Listen, if you going to be out there, look, this what it need to be. And then it's like, I'm trying to give you the game, but you just... But then it's like, they got a whole nother arm. That's a whole nother root of issues that they got to want to dig up. So it's just like...
Yeah.
Just like, get you a shovel and keep it with you, because you forever... And I'm not just talking about you. I'm saying everybody. Everybody got something. My daughter's father, and I'm not going to say his name because I got 3 of them. But my daughter's father, when he talks about his grandparents, right? He goes into a complete trance. Like, he looks like this. And in a complete trance, it's like, Grandma always made sure everything was cooked and clean. Grandma always made sure she was at church. She always said we had to be at the church. We always had to. And Granddaddy wasn't at the church, but he always made sure Grandmama had a way to get there and money in her pocket. And it's not just him. It's like his whole entire family. When they talk about them 2 cornerstones, regardless to anything that they had going on in their life, they all go like this. And it's crazy, because you would think they would feel that way about their parents. But it's not. It's their grandparents. Sometimes stuff just skip over.
Yeah.
And then you be like, how do you close that circle?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said, once you figure out her root, and did it go back with Big Ma and all the rest of them and all of that good stuff, then it's like, dang, do I really want to? Yeah, I'm have to. And then it's like, okay, Lord, you say I got to go into the courts of heaven? Okay, Lord, here I go. Let me go into this judgment. Because it's like, when you hear pastors talk about the courts of heaven, they give you a synopsis about the courts of heaven. They don't tell you, listen, cleanse your house, you need to repent of all your sins. They don't tell you that this is not a one-time process. They don't tell you that you have to go with the accusation in hand. And if you don't know what the actual accusation is, you got to seek God and let him give it to you and be ready, so you can take this accusation and go into the court of judgment and plead your case. You are no longer praying. You're pleading your case. So in the natural, so in the spirit, you get an accusation. Oh, you stole that. The accusation has been made. You allegedly stole hair at the hair store. Now we know you didn't, but you allegedly stole that hair from the hair store. Well, now you got to go before the judge. Well, guess what? The judge ain't gonna see you today. He has now set a trial date for you. We need to see discovery and all. It's the same thing in the spirit. So when they just give you this little bitty synopsis, when you move from a judgment court into the court of grace, you just like they got the superior court, traffic court, and all those. You got these same things in heaven, but they don't teach that, right? They give you a little synopsis, so you just be like, oh, well, the courts of heaven. Yeah, they talked about it. This is a process. I'm probably gonna step on some toes. I don't know who's gonna see this video.
Okay, we gonna stop.
It ain't nothing negative, but just how these men be going to court, all these court cases, and switching out lawyers to prolong their time, and all of that in the natural, and they be like, man, I'm looking at 40 years. They gonna hit me with a habitual. How you think it happened in the spirit? That's the open door. That's how the enemy has grounds to come in on you and torment you the way he do. Why they not teaching us how to get? You're supposed to teach us. You're supposed to be good shepherds and teach your flock how to do these things. If Mr. Roger at work and you getting tormented and you don't know how to, well, wait, I don't know what's going on, and your husband at work or he passed, what you supposed to do? Right. That's a big thing. That course of heaven is a healing tool. This one I had to own up to today, Miss Annie. Again, watching Michael Todd on YouTube. And he was talking about how the scripture, I'm not going to tell you the chapter and verse. You look it up for yourself. Google it. Where God says, all you that's heavy laden, bring your burden to me and I will give you rest. My burden is light and my yoke is easy, right? That's how you're missing your blessings and you think it's the enemy. All because you won't rest. And the man said, I can't make this stuff up. Everything just, when stuff line up, it lines up. The man said, if you go, he went all the way back to Genesis and he said, on the first day he created what? On the second day he created what? On the third day, on the fourth day, on the fifth day, on the sixth day, he said, oh, it's not good for man to be alone. Go to sleep. Took the rib, gave him a helpmate. But before all of that happened, he did what? He rested. And when he said that's how some of us is missing our blessings, because you're not resting for him to download what he need to put in you, that's part of getting rid of that root. Yeah. That's part of knowing what you got to do. These businesses, ideas, he'll give you all of these directions. I want to see everybody healed, not just women. Because y'all men, for real, y'all don't need another man, in my opinion, to be healed. But you got to want to do it. You got to want it for yourself. You got to want to stand on your own two legs. Y'all always hollering, I'm a man. Then be a man. And get healed. And women, I don't care what you got to do. Take it to the streets and scream if you want to. Stand in the middle of the street and just scream as loud as you can until you pass out. But turn the mirror on self. Monique going through that thing, y'all talk about her. But I'm trying to think of the name of that movie where she stood in front of the mirror naked and was owning.
Fat girls. Yeah.
Owning every bit of herself.
Yeah.
You got to own every bit of yourself and take that stuff back.
Yeah.
Give back what don't belong to you. That man beat you because his mama was beaten and that's what he knew for love. Give it back to him.
And claim what's yours.
Here, you can have that. I don't need that. You can take all this baggage with you. I don't want that. I don't need that. I'm trying to go forward. You can't go forward carrying bags. Y'all can sing the song Erykah Badu made, but y'all don't have no meaning to it. That's why you say, yes, girl, university.
Say yes to you.
You are worth it.
Yes to you. Yes to your freedom. Yes to your healing. But thank you for joining us. We done covered a whole lot of stuff. Now that's why y'all know she'll be back. She'll be back. For sure, she will be back. But if you watch this whole video, I hope you did. There's a lot of great nuggets in it. Again, I encourage you all to share your story, own who you are, claim what's yours, and like she said, release what isn't, so we can be happy and be free to live, to love, and just enjoy our lives. Because we only get one, right? We only get one. So live it. Like my daddy said, if you want something, get it. You want to go somewhere, go. If you got something to say it. You want to do something, do it. So I'm going to cut it here. You guys, thanks for joining us. Again, subscribe. Leave us some comments, some likes, share, and I will see you next time.